Over McNeil to the left. Now, Lujan in motion right. All alone is Tucker. Tucker out of bounds at the 3-yard line.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much to everybody out there who's watched my video, maybe subscribed to my channel, maybe give my videos a thumbs up, or maybe left a comment, or anything at all. I greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to get my channel up and running, and anything you guys can do to help me out, I greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much. I saw an article. I'll leave a link in the description box so you can check it out if you want. It's from CBS Sports. It says 3 NFL teams that help their quarterback the most and 3 NFL teams that help their quarterback the least in 2021. So I'll go over the 3 that least. And, these are, it's kind of surprising, because all of these are like, pretty much perennial playoff-bound teams. So, of course, we have the the Green Bay Packers, and they got more than just not helping their quarterback troubles. They got no Aaron Rodgers trouble. So, I mean, unless they think Julian Love is going to be able to take them to the promised land. It's some hurt, I'll tell you what. In the article here, they mentioned after the 20th straight year, the Green Bay Packers didn't take a wide receiver in the first round. You figure somewhere along the line to help Aaron Rodgers out, they could have taken somebody in the first. You know what I mean? Wow. Anyway, they waited to the 3rd round. They took Amari Rodgers from Clemson, so they didn't get somebody in the first, but they did wind up taking somebody, but they lost Jamal Williams in free agency, and they waited till the 7th round to draft a running back, Kylan Hill from Mississippi State. They did get Josh Myers, the center from Ohio State, so that, he's good, so that'll certainly help them out, but, anything they did certainly wasn't pleasing to Aaron Rodgers, that's for sure. So, and, they didn't help the quarterback that much, and they don't have Aaron Rodgers either. So it's going to be a very interesting year for the Green Bay Packers. The next team that they said what was helped the least was poor Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Russell Wilson, he's a gamer. He's going to have him in probably every game. He's just going to be probably running for his life as he has been, the past few years. They mentioned he's been sacked 146 times in the past 3 seasons. Now, if you ever seen Russell Wilson play, the man's pretty mobile. I mean, they get the guy sacked, what was that, about, almost 50 times a season, 49 times a season for the past 3 years. I mean, wow. Okay. They got, the big acquisitions. They got the guard Gabe Jackson, who's a 29-year-old for a 5th-round pick from the Vegas Raiders. They didn't get a running back. They mentioned in the article, despite the history of their injuries for their running backs, Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. A lot of it's going to wind up being probably Russell Wilson just kind of running for his life once again, looking for Metcalf and Lockett. But I mean, the way those guys are, Pete Carroll and all, they'll be in. I'm sure they'll have at least a 500 record, but they certainly didn't help Russell Wilson out, and I can certainly see why. One of these years, he might want to just get the heck out of Seattle. Then the last team that they said it didn't help the quarterback at all, was the New Orleans Saints. Now, of course, they lost Drew Brees. The guy couldn't even throw 20 yards down the field anymore. So I mean, it's time for him to go. But the quarterbacks, Tyson Hill and Jameis Winston, is one of those guys. The answer. They lost Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook. All right. Then they lost, of course, Drew Brees, their only real good true passer. Obviously, I said he couldn't throw the ball very far. But I mean, Tyson Hill, is he going to be the answer? Jameis Winston can throw the ball, but he can throw you into a game or he can throw you out of a game real fast. After Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, the next best guy they got on there is their roster is Saquon Smith, who had 34 receptions last year for 448 yards and 4 touchdowns. So there's a huge drop off. All right, so with Sean Payton, I'm sure with his offensive mind and all, I'm sure the Patriots will be in all the games or most of all the games. I'm sure they'll have competitive record and all, but there's some of the guys they lost, and they lost a Hall of Fame quarterback. Sean Payton's got his work cut out for him because he has like 2 guys like on Tyson Hill is like the Swiss Army knife, but he's not going to be staying. He can't drop back in the pocket like Drew Brees and just march the team down the field. He ain't doing that. Jameis Winston, is very athletic. He can throw the ball, but part of the reason why he's not with Tampa Bay anymore is because of his turnovers. So New Orleans got that's going to be interesting there. The one nice thing here is that all 3 of these teams CBS picked, they're all in the NFC. So that might help the Giants out, especially when it comes time if it's close and there's a playoff push. Now the 3 teams they did pick that helped their quarterback the most, they had Cincinnati, it's number 1. To help Joe Burrow out. Now the last image I had of Joe Burrow, obviously last year, was when he was laying on the field hurt. So I thought Penei Sewell was. That's why I had my mock draft. I had him. You pick him. You got your quarterback. You got your left tackle. Boom. Now you start. If you got a quarterback and a left tackle, now you start building from there. You got the guy who can protect his blind side. It's kind of hard to complain about Jamar Chase, but if I'm taking somebody in the top 5, I'm taking a left tackle to protect my franchise quarterback. He's a good quarterback. They got the quarterback right. I just wish they would have taken the tackle, but they did sign Riley Rife, free agent tackle. Okay, then the second round they picked a tackle from Clemson, Jackson Carman. Then in the 4th round they picked a tackle from East Carolina, Devonta Smith. So instead of taking the tackle, they picked up 3 tackles. And then of course they got in the 5th overall pick. They took Jamar Chase, the best wide receiver in the whole draft. So at least Joe Burrow. That's going to be an interesting. That's going to be fun to watch. Hopefully for years to come. Hopefully those 2 former teammates. It's going to be very, very interesting, very fun to look. So obviously they did help. What they were looking at here was Cincinnati added a weapon and they helped kind of hopefully solidify. They spent some draft capital on the offensive line and they got a veteran offensive lineman in free agency too. So they helped them kind of both ways. All right. Then the next team that they were talking about that helped the quarterback the most was the Tennessee Titans. Getting Julio Jones, a future Hall of Famer, that's hard to complain with that. Now, of course, now you got Julio Jones and you got AJ Brown. Now with Julio, he's like, I don't want to say still in his prime. He's probably at the top of prime, heading down on the backside of the mountain. Okay, so obviously, I'm sure if he stays healthy, I'm sure he has a few more years left in him. Absolutely. But especially if he's not the guy, if you got A.J. Brown and then him, and then you got Derrick Henry in the backfield, and the other team's got to their defense got to pay attention to Derrick Henry running the ball, that's going to be huge for Julio Jones. So you got kind of like the 3-headed monster. And now with Ryan Tannehill, all right, we're not talking a Hall of Fame quarterback here, but he is certainly serviceable enough to lead, that attack. With between Brown and Jones, throwing the ball to them and handing the ball off to Derrick Henry, absolutely. They also got Josh Reynolds from the Rams too. All right, so they, So their receiving core is going to be pretty decent. Obviously, they got Derrick Henry, so you know they're going to be able to run the ball. And they're going to be able to pass the ball. Their problem, all right, and then they also took in the second round, too, they picked up a tackle, Dylan Radunz, right, from North Dakota State. So that's going to help their offensive line with the pass protection and with the running as well. So they did, obviously, they helped Tannehill quite a bit. Their problem is they got to get a pass rush. They got to get better on defense. Or I'm not going to say they're not going to the playoffs. I certainly can see them going to the playoffs without question. But I mean, making a real deep run and maybe going to the, look what happened last year. I mean, when we got to the Super Bowl, the two best teams, the team that got the pressure on the quarterback was the team that won. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes didn't have his tackles, but I mean, Tampa Bay all year long was getting pressure on other teams' quarterbacks, and that was huge to win the Super Bowl. All right, and the third team they had to help the quarterback out the most, and I gotta agree with them. The New York Football Giants. All right, they talked about obviously getting Kenny Golladay. We got the 3Ks, the K gang. All right, we got Kenny Golladay, we got Kyle Rudolph, we got Kadarius Toney. All right, we also got John Ross III with his speed. Now, John Ross, he had some injuries, okay? One of those injuries he had, from like in college, all right? So, he obviously things didn't work out too well with him in Cincinnati. So he didn't play a lot last year, right? So hopefully he's getting a fresh start, and hopefully if he can keep that 4.22 speed, hopefully, we can work some things out for him. So I said between those four guys, obviously then they also mentioned that we're getting Saquon back, okay? We have Evan Ingram, all right? We already have Darius Slayton. We have Sterling Shepard. Now, Darius Slayton, he's going to be huge this year, especially if he's the number 2 receiver. He's a 5th-round pick, and, for us to kind of be bummed out that he didn't turn into a number 1 wide receiver because he's a 5th-round pick. Put him as a number 2. And if he can keep healthy, because he wasn't healthy last year, if he can stay healthy, we could see some things from him this year too. Obviously, because if everybody's paying attention to Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton could be huge. Now, unfortunately, this might be the last year for Sterling Shepard for us. Maybe Kadarius Toney might be able to just slip right into the slot there, and we might have to say goodbye to Sterling Shepard after this year is over. Because we're our draft, our capital that we have next year, we only have a few $1 million. We're going to have to if we're going to sign anybody next year, we're going to have to let go of some guys. So we might have to let go of Sterling Shepard, and there might even be some guys that we can't sign either. So this might be the last year for Evan Ingram too. But, so we got, we got Saquon coming back, then we got Devontae Booker. He's good. He's decent running. He had 3 years in a row when he first came into the league where he had over 30 receptions. So, Saquon can catch the ball and can run. Devontae Booker can catch the ball and he can run. Gary Brightwell from Arizona. He caught some passes in Arizona, but he's going to be huge on special teams. He's a special teams ace, and he can run the ball as well. Then you got Corey Clement, all right? He's got a Super Bowl ring, all right? He can run the ball, all right, but he can also catch the ball, too. He was the leading receiver, yardage-wise, in the Super Bowl victory over the Patriots. He had 100 receiving yards, all right? So he can catch the ball too. But just to go to show you how pathetic the Eagles' defense was in that Super Bowl. Tom Brady was only 49 yards away passing from setting the all-time NFL record for a game. He had 505 yards passing. Norm Van Brocklin had 554 back in 1951. Tom Brady was only 49 yards from setting an NFL record. And not only that, Corey Clement had 100 yards receiving for the Eagles. He was their number 1 yardage receiver. The Patriots had 3 guys with over 100 yards receiving. That just goes to show you how pathetic the Eagles' defense was in that game. But, no, that's my Eagles rant. I can't stand the Eagles. But anyway, a lot of guys want also talking about maybe getting Adrian Peterson. we don't need him. He's more of a runner. He's not going to be much in the passing game, and I just hate to have the guy come into the game and Adrian Peterson's in the game. Guess we're going to hand the ball off to him. I mean, it was kind of like when the Giants, like in 2000, 2001, when they had Thunder and Lightning, had Tiki Barber and Ron Dayne. All right, we had a nice offensive line. Ron Dayne wasn't much in the pass game, but when Ron Dayne came in, guess we're probably going to hand the ball to Ron Dayne. But Ron Dayne, we had enough of a decent offensive line that Ron Dayne, his first year, got over 800 yards. His second year, I believe, he got over 600 yards rushing. So we had a decent offensive line that even when Ron Dayne came into the game and the other defense knew we were probably going to hand the ball off to Ron Dayne, we had a nice enough offensive line that Ron Dayne could still get some yards. When Tiki Barber was in the game, you didn't know if we were going to hand the ball off to him or we were going to pass the ball, because Tiki Barber could do anything. It's kind of the same thing with Saquon. Saquon's in the game, we can either run the ball or we can pass the ball. It would be just horrible to have Adrian Peterson come on our team. Now, he would be a fantastic in the locker room, fantastic teammate, fantastic mentor to Saquon Barkley, all of that stuff. But when he comes in off the sideline and it's like the other team, guess they're handing the ball off to Adrian Peterson. I mean, wouldn't it be a shame just to have Adrian Peterson end his career with the Giants, get like 37 carries for like 100 yards because, our offensive line, wasn't that good at run blocking. It'd be a shame. But anyway, I have to agree with CBS. I certainly think that the Giants definitely went out of their way to help Daniel Jones. And if Daniel Jones stays relatively healthy, and if Daniel Jones can't put up some points, I think next year it's going to be bye-bye Daniel Jones. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there, and go Giants! Woo!